So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. I just felt I had to come on after that Spurs game. I don't know will I put this out straight away this evening, but I felt I had to come on because that was one of the more frustrating displays, defensive displays, one of the more naive defensive displays I've seen from Aston Villa in quite a while. For me, it's a bit deflating, to be honest with you. A game whereby, yes, we conceded a silly goal to start. I'm going to be showing some still shots here that I took of the game. We had issues in defense. We had issues in both wing backs were pretty out of position for a good period of the game, and our midfield just had zero structure to it for the majority of the game today. Yes, I want to preface that I am going to be talking about structure of the whole team. Okay, I'm not going to be sitting here blaming one player or blaming Konza for that header or blaming whatever. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be discussing the structure of the whole team, which is wholly wrong in transitions, and we cannot defend a long straight ball. Absolutely bread and butter stuff. Long straight ball. Oodles of space in front of Harry Kane. Oodles of the spacing between our midfield and our defense. Oh my word. Just I don't know. Game didn't go for us. Yes, their goals were, in fairness, I said before the game, let's see if they can score worldies. And Son's first goal, superbly well taken goal. Kulusevski's goal, superbly well taken goal. Son's third goal, superbly well taken goal. The second goal that Son got, which was their third goal overall, when we look at it again, like really naive defending from Aston Villa. You can label naive defending across the board for all of these goals, but they did take their snapshots. They did score them. They were well taken goals. Not taking anything away from the finishes. Absolutely not. If there's any Spurs fans watching this, fair play to you. You've got some strike force there. Absolutely some strike force. Well done. And those goals were very, very well done. I'm talking about this because of some of the stuff that I saw from an Aston Villa standpoint that has been ongoing last year, this year, the year before. Oh my goodness. It's just it's rinse and repeat from this midfield and from this defense at times. Okay. Now, yes, this is a reaction to this one game. All right, it's a reaction to this one game. So take this in its silo. This isn't me calling for anybody to be sacked, sold, hung, drawn, and quartered, whatever. This is me looking at what this game was and that the structure of the team in defense, specifically in transitions, was all over the place. What are we doing in some of these instances? It's very rare I get hot under the collar. I love to be smiley and rainbows guy. This just really, really, really got to me watching this game today because it was child's play. The goals were well taken. Absolutely, the build-up was child's play. So without further ado, I don't want to talk too much more on it because it's pretty galling at times to look at some of these pieces. But and I can understand, look, the front three for Spurs are fantastic. Like I've said that before, and I'm going to continue to say that. They're fantastic. And yes, it's difficult to contain them, but man, we didn't do ourselves any favor today. We just didn't. And for me, that's frustrating. It's really, really is frustrating. So let's take a look at a couple of things here. I'm going to share up my screen. Hopefully you guys can see this here. I'll just resize it here so then it makes it a small bit easier to see. I've taken some still shots of the game, as I mentioned, and I just wanted to look at where we set up and how we set up. So you can see here, obviously, I've taken the Tottenham position map from who scored. I've overlaid Aston Villa position map and replaced it with our players. So what we can see here straight away is fullback Luca Dean, who I'm full of praise of. Don't get me wrong. All our attacks down the left-hand side need him there because we're pretty powder puff without him there. But look how far up he is. He's once again, remember when we were going on losing streaks previously, where was Luca Dean? Sometimes he was the furthest man forward. We've fallen into that trap again. Look who's over there, Emerson Royale and Kulusevski. all the way over there. Look at our right-hand side. Matty Cash, John McGinn, both marking Matt Doherty and Reguilon when they came on out there. See the way Son and Harry Kane just move in on top of Douglas Luiz. Where is the rest of our midfield in around Douglas Luiz? Coutinho, too far. Like, playing the two strikers and Coutinho there, we left ourselves wide open. In hindsight, granted, in hindsight, look at this here where they've completely you've got Bentancur and Højbjerg just basically standing on top of Coutinho. Yes, Coutinho got great. He did some great things in the first half, and we got a lot of joy out of it. Absolutely, 100%. Don't get me wrong. We've got Eric Dyer there standing on Danny Ings, and we have Watkins moving in around there trying to pull Romero out of the way. And Coutinho, when he went over there onto Romero, caused him a small bit of hassle. Not too much, but a small bit of hassle. But Coutinho was picking up the ball. We were doing some great things in the first half after we conceded the first goal. But there's an element of naivety to where we've set up here, because we can see that, like, Douglas Luiz had Son and he had Harry Kane on him. Our two centre halves are exposed in to a greater extent. They're exposed here. How far does Tyrone Mings have to go out on the left hand side here, to just based on this map? Anyway, moving on. Let's take a look at the goals. This is the very, very first goal that we have. And sorry for some of the blurred images that I have here. So it's long ball, once again, long ball played up from the back. And what I wanted to highlight here is the space in front of Harry Kane. So blurred image, apologies about that. And what we can see here is the ball is played straight. Eric Dyer plays a straight ball up the top and goes over Harry Kane's head. We can see there's Harry Kane. Tyrone Mings is right beside him. Coming into shot in a moment is going to be Konza, who ultimately gets his head on the ball. But look at the spacing where our midfield three are. You've got Ramsey, you've got Douglas Luiz here, and you've got John McGinn. It's very, very like the spacing there is not great. I'm going to be really honest with you. When that long ball is played, it's fine. It's okay in some aspects, but when this long ball is played, what we'll see what happens is I don't know. I just don't know what happens with it here. You've got Matt Doherty down here in the bottom left-hand corner. You can see he's all out on his own, because when we go forward again, you see Matty Cash is somebody who's pushing up towards to getting closer to Konza as well, to narrow it down. We played very, very narrow in this game, and it really, we played narrow, and we didn't play with the right spacing in midfield, and we got completely exposed, because our fullbacks had to go forward, had to make all of the wide space, and we'll see it in a moment how exposed our two centre halves were. So when the ball is actually headed by Konza here, so Konza is just about to get his head on the ball. Was the header brutal? Absolutely it was. Can he head it anywhere other than Harry Kane? Yes. You head it out to the side there. Maybe Dina gets it. Head it towards the corner flag, whatever you do, but you don't just head it back here to Harry Kane, who has a shot, and it comes off Matty Cash. But once again, look at this. Look how far behind our midfield are. They have four people. It's actually 4-on-4 here from a Spurs point of view. And we shouldn't have that from a long ball. We should have people busting their gut to get back here. But we see where Douglas Luiz is here. And I just wanted to mention it. Douglas Luiz, McGinn, and Jacob Ramsey are all here. And they're all 10 yards off Harry Kane and Kulusevski. And when we move it on here to when the ball drops to Harry Kane, Douglas Luiz is still 10 yards off Harry Kane, but he stops right here. This is my problem. Douglas Luiz stops right here on the arc of the penalty area. He doesn't move from here. So this ball actually, when it comes to Harry Kane's after taking a shot here. It comes off Matty Cash and it comes back. Douglas Luiz is 3 or 4 steps closer to Son here. Maybe he puts him off. And this is the big problem I have. Our spacing was all wrong, so we found it difficult to get back there. So when the consternation happens and a super finish from Son, we are nowhere to be found. To me, that's frustrating. Like, if you've got a number 6, if you've got a defensive midfielder, or you need to play a defensive midfielder, he needs to be the furthest man back within that midfield trio. And it's not. It's a flat midfield. Our spacing isn't right. It exposes our two centre halves, because what we can see here is it's essentially still 4-on-4, or 4-on-5 if you want to call it. But Douglas Luiz is stopped here. You've got Kulusevski, you've got Son, you've got Harry Kane, and you've got Matt Doherty out here on the left-hand side. So, we're still having overload there, and we're not getting people back behind the ball and keeping the play in front of us. That to me was really frustrating. Call me naive, call me overly critical with regards to this, but this is basic stuff for me. And I think that if we don't sort out our spacing and get at least somebody to cover that space in front of Harry Kane at any stage during this game, we were going to have this outcome of a 4-0 loss. Very frustrating for me, that one was. Great finish from Son, cock cold. What we did afterwards was brilliant for the first half. We should have gone in. It should have been maybe, it could easily have been 3-1 in the first half. Could have had Ramsey's shot, brilliant save from Luis. Could have had, I think Watkins needs to do better with that header he puts over the bar. Coutinho nearly catches Lloris Cole at the front post from a free kick, wonderful free kick. How Lloris got his hands to that was absolutely brilliant. He was a man possessed in the first half. We could have gone in at least level at halftime. We should have gone in up at halftime, and we're not taking that away. We're looking at the goals and why we're conceding these goals, and how easy it was when Spurs got into these positions to basically tear us apart with their front three. So this is goal number 1. Goal number 2. Once again, another long ball. The ball is in the air here. We don't even see it in the screen. So we've got Matty Cash is fronting up Kane at this stage. So Matty Cash then lets Kane go, and Konsa comes to meet Kane. Konsa doesn't do anything with Kane here. He stands alongside him, doesn't jump with him at all. Kane puts his arm out, and Konsa doesn't do anything here. I don't have a clip of this. Watch it back. Watch the replays of it, and you'll see it. But watch where Kulusevski is here. This is the Kulusevski goal. Kulusevski is right over here on the right-hand side, the Spurs right-hand side. Ramsey is there beside him, not looking at anything. Our midfield, watch how flat our midfield is. Why don't we have a midfielder back? It's really frustrating. Ramsey is here, loses Kulusevski completely. Absolutely loses him. Loses him completely. Have I lost? That was the only slide I had. Kulusevski runs right across the defense, takes the ball on the left-hand side. Brilliant finishing past Demi Martinez. But that's the frustrating thing. What you could see there was our midfield trio were just so straight and so flat. All they had to do was play a long ball into the space, into Kane, miles of space in front of Kane. What that meant was that one of our centre halves had to come and engage him, and then when he did, he could put it behind him, he could put it left, he could put it right, because our fullbacks were far up the field. He basically had his choice of where he wanted to head it because the other people were running off him. It's very simple stuff. It's actually old school football. It's something Alan Shearer used to do really well when he had players playing around him, faster players playing around him as well when he played for England. Here's the third goal. So what we can see here is the ball comes in. So we've lost the ball, obviously. And what we can see here is the ball comes into Kane in midfield. Once again, no one around him. Our number 6, Douglas Luiz, has gone up to pressure somebody. I don't know who that is. I think it might be Bentancur. He's gone up to pressure him. We don't have our 6 in here. We've got Ramsey and McGinn scampering to get back. McGinn is losing Son, as we can see it here. Harry Kane, the ball is coming up to him. Coming straight. Once again, a straight ball from Romero, I think it was. Konsa is forced to engage because we don't have our defensive midfielder in there. And the reason that they can play this long ball up is because we don't have a defensive midfielder stopping that passing lane. Romero could have easily played this on the ground. There was so much air, so much space in front of him. Konsa has to come in and engage Kane. Look back at the replays of this. Kane looks over both shoulders to see that there's absolutely no defender within an ass's roar of him. Konsa's coming at him like a train. All he has to do is flick it over his shoulder. Son runs into it. But watch where Son is. McGinn has lost him. Cash is narrow. I actually don't blame Cash at all in this instance. But like Konsa has to come in and engage Kane, because where's our midfield? I don't know. So when we roll it on, you can see it here. This is when the ball is being played by Romero, I think it is. We've got Douglas Luiz, Ramsey, McGinn. Yes, Douglas Luiz is going to engage one of the two central midfielders, as we can see here. But look at all that space in front of Harry Kane. He must have been loving it. Absolutely loving it. So Harry Kane moves up into that area. Konsa has to follow him. And look at the gap between Mings and Cash. Look at the gap between Mings and Cash then that's left. So simple. It's so simple. And in the heat of battle, don't get me wrong, this is difficult to judge in the heat of battle for people who are playing there. But why isn't somebody shouting at, hey, Coutinho, you got to stick on this guy when we're out of possession? Or Ings or Watkins. Like pressuring a man out in the wing there in Romero to try and to to get the ball off him is quite pointless, I think, in my view. Let him have the ball out there and let him play it. If he plays that ball from where he plays it, they're right out on the right-hand side, and we've got Douglas Luiz in front of Harry Kane. It's a long ball up. We're not forcing to get Konza to come and engage. Harry Kane needs to take that ball down and needs to find somebody else. So the front three don't do it, or the front three aren't cute enough in this instance here, potentially. Douglas Luiz is forced up too far, and Konza then has to come and engage because there's an absolute corridor in front of Harry Kane. Really frustrating, really frustrating. And then we see here, this is when the ball is actually knocked on by Harry Kane. So Harry Kane has made the header in this instance. And look at the gap between Mings and Cash is almost half the field. And Son just runs straight through and slots it. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Digne is miles up the field here as well in this instance here. Digne is actually coming to take on Emerson Royale, and Mings has to go out and Kulusevski. That's what creates the big gap as well. Just very frustrating. Their movement, Spurs' movement, was brilliant. It absolutely bamboozled us. And then lastly, we can see the goal from this very position. Kulusevski picks up the ball here. Luca Dean tries to first time cross, comes off Emerson Royale. He tries to get the ball again. He loses it. It breaks to Kulusevski, and this is what we're faced with. Digne making his way back. Ramsey going to approach Kulusevski. After that, and after some bits of play, we see the ball makes its way in here to Højbjerg. So from this point of view, we have Ramsey chasing Højbjerg. We've got Luca Dean, who's after putting Emerson Royale in his backside. We've got Harry Kane just waiting for the ball here. No one within 7 or 8 yards of him. And we've got, see where Son is. See where we've got Son over there on that left-hand side. He's running in between. He's running behind McGinn's back. And Matty Cash is breaking his neck to get back because we've lost the ball. From an attacking position, Cash is getting back into space. Look how high Mings is, because Mings now has to go and try and engage Harry Kane. Sorry, that's Douglas Luiz out here that has put Emerson Royale on his backside. Once again, Douglas Luiz should probably be in here, but he has to come out and he has to come to that side because Digne has lost the ball so far up the field. So this is like, they score from there. It's a brilliant counterattack. We don't help ourselves, and we get a bit kamikaze in our defense. So as we move it on here, we can see here the ball is played into Son. Son has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 Villa players and Son up there with Kulusevski coming into frame from the bottom. Son basically takes the ball, holds it up, and lays it and slides it down the side of our defense. To Kulusevski, and then Son basically takes up a position on the edge on the penalty spot, and Kulusevski basically just has to feed the ball to him. It's very simple. So he slides the ball down. We can see it here. Kulusevski plays the ball straight to Son, just on our penalty area. We've got Douglas Luiz making his way back there, not in any position at all. Like I don't know who he's defending or what he's doing in this instance here. We both have, I think it's Jacob Ramsey and Tyrone Mings going towards Kulusevski. We've Konza then standing on the penalty area with Konza. So in this instance here, Konza is left to mark both Harry Kane and Son, and Kulusevski can pick out whoever he wants. Picks out Son, who was a brilliant finish into the bottom corner. Frustrating day at the office. Could have scored goals at the start. Didn't, or in the first half, should I say, didn't, and then were pretty resoundingly beaten afterwards. That's really it. Where do we go from here? We regroup, we come back, we play a team like Leicester, and but the big thing here is we've got post-match interviews. I hope to get to watch it in a moment afterwards, but we've got a post-match interview. There needs, like, there's player issues, there's structural issues, and it all needs sorting out. That those two pieces need sorting out. That midfield spacing has been wrong. It's been wrong since New Year's Day 2021. It's been wrong since then, and we haven't been able to fix it. So something needs to change from maybe a setup point of view, or we need to get more people in midfield. But we need to be shoring up against teams like Spurs. We really do. And we didn't. And we went out and we tried to go toe-to-toe with them, and it worked for 35 minutes. But then the second half, they had obviously seen what we had done. They said, hey, Harry, there's a ball of space in front of you. How's about you just basically pull off into that space, drag their two centre halves wide, and then Son, you attack it like a train. And look what's happened. We lose 4-0. Okay, that's going to do it. Every so often, I do need to get a couple of things off my chest. Not usually one to be very negative and ranty. I apologize if anybody feels I was overly zealous with regards to this one. I'm just pointing out what I've seen, and I think that it was look. We have very good players. We have good players, but this Spurs team was just phenomenal in the way it tore us apart. But we helped them in a lot of areas by, the three up top didn't work. It didn't work in the second half, and it was a big reason why we had to commit people into the middle of midfield and create that, and we were able to create that. They were able to create that space in front of Harry Kane, should I say? So there's a lack of people being able to spot this on the field or something. I don't know what it is. I don't like branding a team like that, but when I talk about somebody needs to take the bull by the scruff of the neck here and turn around and say to people, lads, we got to do something. Somebody needs to be shielding here in front of Harry Kane. Let them have the ball in their own half. Who cares? Why are we pressing teams when they're right out on the right-hand side of the field? Why are we doing that? We're stop. I know we're 3-0 down at that point, but damage limitation and try and force them when we get the ball back, but stop the rot and stop Harry Kane from having his way with the ball. He's one of the best centre forwards in the world. We cannot give him 10, 15, 20 yard space in front of him to go move into to pull our centre halves around the base. That's going to do it. I don't know, will I release this? Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I don't know. But if you do get to see this, I'd appreciate it. Maybe if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the podcast, subscribe, share it. But better days are ahead. They have to be ahead. Better defensive performances are ahead. They have to be ahead. I'm still looking forward to Leicester. I'm looking forward to the end of this season. I think there's still another 3 wins in this team over the course of the next few games. And I, for one, as I say, I'm not throwing the baby out with bathwater with regards to these players or these tactics yet, but we did get shown up an awful lot for some of the areas that were very naive in this game today. And I just found it frustrating because I could see it. And I think that it's something that might need to be changed. Not might need to be changed. It does need to be changed going forward. So that's going to do it. Thanks very much for everybody for what you do for this podcast. Really appreciate everything you do for it. Thanks for all the likes and shares and comments and everything. I'll be back with Paddy. If you are seeing this now, do release it. I'll be back with Paddy for a post-match reaction, and I'll let him do all the talking and that and see what his opinions are of the game. Onwards towards Leicester, and hopefully we can sort out some of those frailties between midfield and defense and maybe convert some of those chances, because we did have a lot of chances that were convertible and unfortunately it didn't go our way. So hopefully there is a bit of work done on both the attacking and the defending over the course of the week. Thanks very much, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. All that's left to say is up the Villa.